Welcome to our Digital Action How-To panel. I'm excited to introduce to you two digital media experts, Lyndsey Fifield from the Heritage Foundation and Devin Sena from Live Action. Lyndsey, Devin, it is so great to have you guys here.
So great to be
Thanks for having
here.
us.
Hi.
Absolutely. Well, so I want to hear from each of you about what your organizations have been doing this year to champion life on social media. I know that both Live Action and the Heritage Foundation have some pretty major campaigns and efforts that they've been doing out in various digital media platforms. So, Lyndsey, what is Heritage up to these days in sharing the message of life?
Oh my gosh, there are so many fights happening right now. And I feel like that can be so overwhelming when you have an organization that tackles all angles of public policy on this issue, the states battles, the Supreme Court battles, also some legislation that's moving through right now, the Women's Healthcare Protection Act, which is so deceptively named. And I think what's really important for us and for our media arm, the Daily Signal, is just showing people the truth that that the mainstream media is never going to report, and making sure that they have the facts about a lot of these policy prescriptions that are being moved forward, and why the left and the pro-abortion community is moving forward with so many of these deceptive narratives around women's health, and how we can empower women to stand for life and make sure that they are empowered with all of the information about everything that's going on. So from our videos, and of course we love sharing all of our content partners' work, from Live Action to Students for Life and FRC and March for Life. We love doing everything that we can to amplify the work of others. But internally, we've hired new reporters. We've been doing more video, man on the street interviews than ever before. We've got some really exciting things coming up this year as well. We've been outside the Supreme Court for every battle. And I think that's the most important thing, is just highlighting the work that pro-lifers are doing and making sure that they have the platform that they need to get their message out.
Well, we're thankful for the work that you guys are doing and that we're able to partner with you guys on that. Devin, what about you guys over at Live Action? What kind of campaigns have you been working on? I'm familiar with a few of them, such as the 2363 Project and Baby Olivia. It sounds like you have been working on a lot this year to champion life through various digital media platforms.
Yes, it's been busy and obviously great outcomes as a result of that. Planned Parenthood and Guttmacher Institute, these pro-abortion groups, are scared. Last year was the most devastating year for abortion access, in their words. So, and that is because of the pro-life movement and their daily efforts to, educate and really share the truth with the world. And so that's what we focus on, is education and really sharing the truth through really powerful, compelling content. Like you mentioned, we had the Olivia. It's an animated prenatal development video, never before seen, verified by medical experts and using world-class animators, that shows human life in the womb from fertilization to birth. It's a really beautiful presentation. It's been seen over 30 million times so far in just a couple months. So super exciting there. And then we also ran a really saturated multi-million-dollar spend across multiple markets, LA, New York, DC, and Jackson, Mississippi, really showing and bring awareness to the death toll of abortion. So every day, 2,363 lives are lost. And so that was the campaign, 2363, and we put that number everywhere. We had Times Square billboards, we had taxi cabs taking over New York City with the message. And so really great opportunity and honor to be able to present that message and, help make people aware of what is happening in America.
Sounds like some really cool projects. I've seen a few of them myself, and it's absolutely amazing the different angles that you're able to share this message from. I'm curious, Devin, what unique challenges have you all faced in sharing a pro-life message? Maybe even with the 2363 campaign or Baby Olivia. What are some of the unique challenges you faced this year?
Yeah, I think the tricky thing is most of these big tech platforms are controlled by those who are in the opposition, right? People who sadly like abortion. And so one of our key campaigns last year was the abortion pill reversal campaign, which abortion pill reversal is a natural pregnancy hormone, progesterone, that is often used to help prevent miscarriage. And so what we did there is progesterone is used for women who regret taking the abortion pill. It actually helps them reverse the procedure. And so, we have pretty aggressive ad campaigns across platforms. And one of the key places where we ran into roadblocks was Google actually banned are abortion pill reversal ads.
Wow.
And so there were dozens of women calling us every single day, calling the hotline for information on how to reverse their abortion. And unfortunately, Google has banned those ads, and they're currently still banned. And so it's wild for people who claim to be pro-choice to be restricting the choice of women to reverse their abortion. It's scary.
That is really scary.
Yeah, and from the Heritage Foundation side, this is where when I talked about how all of these issues kind of go together, we have our Tech Policy Center, and obviously we're fighting the war against big tech. They're basically the enemy of the people. And this is such a great intersection and proof of just how willing they are to wield their power to suppress conservative viewpoints and pro-life viewpoints, but also just the access to information that people have that can be life-saving and affirming. And I think what we're trying to do is not just raise awareness of that, but fight back and actually empower women and empower people to get out there and get around some of these roadblocks that big tech has put up. And what we find happening, and I love the example that you just used, because I do feel like sometimes it's like, thank you when they ban one of our videos, because then we can say, watch the video that YouTube just took down, and we get way more views and way more circulation because people are hungry for information that they feel like is being suppressed. They know they want to hear the truth. They want to hear information. And so there's nothing better than when you can say, okay, like, help us fight, get this video out. And you really see your allies step up to help you. Anytime that you guys come under fire, we're always there to have your back. And I know that you guys are for us as well. And I feel like that's just such an important part of this with social media, is standing together and showing that even when they try to silence us, even when they try to take the information down, that we can find ways around it. But for your specific example with the ads that were helping women, they're not going to conservative sites, and sometimes it does feel like we're preaching to the choir, we're preaching to people who are already pro-life. And so that is where it's so important to have activists and people who are just pro-life in their everyday life, just putting it into the rhythm of your day, putting it into the content that's in your social media feed, where of course I have the Heritage Foundation accounts, and of course I have the Daily Signal social accounts, and we can post pro-life messages there all day, and conservatives are mostly going to see that, or maybe antagonistic people who hate us follow us so that they can comment nasty things. But I use my personal accounts, and I encourage all of you guys to use your personal accounts to stand for life every single day. And it's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be negative. I feel like we have so much to be optimistic about. You don't have to post, negative things. You don't have to feel compelled to share, graphics or stats that you're uncomfortable with, but just find ways to use compelling images of your children, of yourself, of your family, to share your stories. And that is a way that you can kind of get around and try to get that word out to people who might otherwise never hear a pro-life message. If you do feel like you need to hide your light or, step back because you're worried about big tech censorship, for sharing views that are unpopular or maybe even against the terms of service of some of these platforms.
Lyndsey, that's really good advice and really practical. Sorry, go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, and on that note, the reality is they might be able to limit one of us, but they can't stop all of us, right? So when thousands or tens of thousands or millions of pro-lifers that are in America talk about this issue, they can't silence us all. And so that's what I think is so encouraging, that there are so many of us. Half of America is pro-life. Over 70% support significant abortion restrictions. And so that is so encouraging. And if the hundreds of millions of those people speak out, we'll really change the culture.
I love that. And y'all have given some really practical advice that can be applied the moment this video is over. And I can totally relate to the struggles, the creative challenges that you have experienced through tech censorship. I want to hear what you all have to say. I know, Lyndsey, you touched a little bit on some of the best practices, but what can pro-lifers watching this video do as soon as they end Pro-Life Con? What can they do? What platforms do they need to be on? What are some of the best practices? What do they need to be focusing on? Give us your best advice.
Oh gosh, Devin, do you want to go first on that, or do you want to let me take it?
Sure,
I'll just say.
Yeah.
Oh, say, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the key thing is, I know it can be intimidating to talk about this issue, but here's the thing: you just have to start, right? You might not know everything. You might not know all the statistics. You might not know all the data and can make beautiful graphics. But here's the thing, like, just talk about the issue, share why you're pro-life. Just start. I think that is critical, right? And so yeah, just start. And I think another thing that's really important is be smart in what you say, right? Like, don't say something to elicit a response or engagement, or comments or shares or anger. We're here to save lives, and we have to keep that perspective, because that's what matters. We're not here to build a brand. We're not here to build a following. We're here to really change the culture and end abortion, and ensure children are completely protected by our laws. And so we have to keep that focus, be smart, and just start. I think those are really critical things.
That's good.
Absolutely. And I mean, to that point, Devin, too, and what you mentioned earlier about 70% of Americans support significant restrictions on abortion. And a lot of times what I see are pro-lifers who get into these fights with pro-abortion, really radical people who their hearts are hard, their minds are not going to be changed. And the performance that potentially persuadable people who maybe consider themselves pro-choice or pro-abortion, when they see that interaction, they see that fight in the comment section of a post or something, that's an opportunity for you to not engage with maybe the most radical voices, but find those people who are softer and more persuadable. And I think a lot of times we kind of tend to go to like, where is the most danger? Where is the biggest fight? Let me engage in that. Actually, I encourage you guys you don't necessarily have to go to those fights. Find a community. I'm on so many, I follow so many accounts since becoming a mom that are just naturally pro-life because they are focused on, motherhood and birth and things like that, and parenting and things like that. And so when you find those posts and they post pro-abortion content, stand up in the comments and say something. Don't stay silent. Don't be scared because you think like, oh, I'm going to be the only one. Stand up and say something. You don't have to say anything, antagonistic, but you can say like, this isn't, not cool for you guys to post something like this. I don't agree with this. Just make sure that you're speaking up, like the comments of other people who are pro-life in the post. I know this might sound like petty, time wasting stuff, but honestly, this is really important for people to see and understand that their views are not marginalized, or they aren't just a tiny subsection that needs to stay quiet and make themselves small. We do need to be confident and speak up. And we can do it, like Devin said, in a very positive way, and make sure that we are, speaking up on posts where, again, people in those comments might never get an honest depiction of what a pro-life person sounds like or is, because all they ever hear from the left and from pro-abortion folks is this caricature of pro-lifers. I know you guys hate the argument just as much as I do that we only care about children until they're born. It's like the argument that just makes my skin crawl, but it's also just so blatantly untrue. And so anytime I see that argument, I have so much fun debunking it, because it's just a great opportunity really to highlight all of the ways that we empower women, well past women and children, and make sure that people have the resources that they need, that we're not just pro-life until babies are born. And so just examples like that, I would say, just be creative and be thoughtful, but also show support to people who are also courageous enough to speak up online. So even if you don't have a big platform, even if you don't have a lot of followers, if you can go and like the comments, thumbs up videos from YouTubers who dare to be pro-life on that platform, speak up for them in the comments, it really makes a difference. Because if you are a pro-life YouTuber and all you saw were the negative, nasty comments, you might start to think like, man, no one is with us. Like, I'm alone in this fight. That's like so bad. And just one comment from someone that says, I'm with you, can really be such an encouragement to people who really need to hear it. And I know that we tend to go to videos and comment on them if we disagree, but I really encourage you to take the time to make sure that when you see pro-life content anywhere, even if it's not overtly meant to be a pro-life post, even if it's just like, oh, here's a really cute maternity photo shoot that I posted, make a point to comment and say, wow, isn't life incredible? And speak to the dignity of life, and just put that into the flow of your conversation and the way that you carry yourself online. And I think that makes such a huge difference.
Lyndsey, Devin, I love that advice. That is inspiring. You guys are doing great work over at your organizations, and I know I feel inspired, and our viewers will feel inspired to take what they've learned at ProLifeCon, take the inspiration that they've gleaned here, and put the pedal to the metal, hit social media, and they have really practical ways to do that. Thank you all for sharing your best practices and your advice. Really quick, where can viewers connect with you and your digital campaigns and your organizations? Lyndsey, if you could start us.
Oh gosh, make sure that you're following at The Daily Signal on Instagram and at Heritage Foundation on Instagram, at Heritage on Twitter, and at Daily Signal on Twitter. We also have a great pro-life account and pro-woman account called Problematic Women. It's a podcast and an Instagram account. We'd love to have you guys following us and getting your support there. Just another great community of women online supporting one another and fighting for life.
Awesome.
And over here at Live Action, just look up Live Action on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. We're there. So just search Live Action or President Mila Rose, who is at the forefront of the fight.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time. We appreciate the wisdom you had to offer.